Hello everyone and welcome back to Humble Acres. I bought another one. This one I've actually been trying to buy since September of last year. I finally was able to get it and I went down with my dad and picked it up yesterday or last night, and it's in much better condition than the other one I have. It has a title, which is the most important thing. It is a 73 Land Cruiser. It has the Warren locking hubs in the front. Let's see what else. It has a little bit of rust, you can see, but not near as bad as my other one. The back is rusted out here, rusted here, and then under the doors is bad. But honestly, that's not anything compared to what the other one is. And the frame is solid on this one, which is a huge plus. The whole frame is good, so I don't have to do any frame work. Yeah. Got a little bit of a blowout in the exhaust right there. But yeah, I'm really happy about this purchase. Let's look under the hood. Alright, looking under the hood. Everything under here is stock and original, which is amazing. We have the original carburetor. We have, believe it or not, the original distributor, which I've never seen an original distributor on one of these. Every single one I've bought has been aftermarket, so that's awesome. We got our coil up here. This engine does turn over, so that's a big plus as well. It, believe it or not, has oil in it instead of water, so that's always a good thing. So honestly, we're going to try to start this today. I don't know how well that's going to go over, but I figured it's a good time to try. It looks like we have, like, this is part of the emission stuff, which I'm probably just going to remove all that because nobody wants that crap on there. So yeah, this is what we're looking at, and I'm very excited about this. This is actually the same exact engine that my other one has. So for some reason, if this engine's bad, we know the other one runs, so that's a plus. I don't know if we're going to be able to get started, but I really want to try because I feel like it should work. This is more of the emission stuff here. Going to get rid of all that junk. We have an oil filter on this one. My other one does not have an oil filter. It looks like the oil lines have been rubbing on the steering shaft there, which isn't good, but does the carburetor even move? Oh yeah, it does. It's freed up. Look at that. Everything moves. That's a good sign. Should probably take the air cleaner off, make sure there's nothing living in there. It's really dusty. It's been sitting outside for like 20 years, I guess. Apparently the guy I bought it from, well, it's actually his buddy that was selling it, but the guy I bought it from, he was selling it for him. Apparently he just parked it 20 years ago and was always going to get to it to like redo it and everything. And he said when he parked it, it was running fine. And he just didn't have time to get to it. And 20 years later, he just decided to get rid of it. So yeah, so I really think this engine is going to start up. I don't know how easily, but I think we'll get it to run. Let's see if the distributor points look okay real quick. It actually looks really clean in there. I like that. You can't see the points, but we can take this off and see the points. Just gotta pull the rotor off here and then take this little dust shield out. The points look like brand new, so I bet you this thing's gonna fire up. I really do. So let's get this all put back together, shove some gas down the carburetor, and see what happens. Alright, well, it's cold out today. It's like 10 degrees right now, so I decided to get this off the trailer, get it into the garage where it's easier to work on. I just don't want to have to deal with it in the cold right now, so let's get this off the trailer. Alright everybody, so I got it pulled in the garage here. It's just too cold outside, so we got it in here now. I did take this air cleaner off, and there is a mouse nest in the middle here. So we gotta get that vacuumed out, but honestly, we don't really need this on here anyway. And funny enough, I had a 1973 Land Cruiser before. It was a long time ago. It's actually the very first video on this channel is of that running. And that also had a seized engine. And I have a brand new air filter still from that, and I never put it in it. So I can replace this, no problem. So let's get this vacuumed out. The carburetor looks good. I mean, it's loose, so everything's working on it. You can see everything's moving. I'm sure seals and stuff aren't great. It doesn't look the best down in there. So I'm gonna vacuum. There's a little bit of fuzz down in there, so I'm gonna vacuum that out. Maybe shine a light down in there, make sure there's nothing else way down in there. But we're just gonna try to get this running. I'm probably gonna crack this gas line off of here, because I don't want, if the fuel pump's working, I don't want it to pull whatever is in the gas tank into the carburetor, because that would not be good. But I'm just really happy that this is a stock carburetor, and it is not, no, it is not a aftermarket one. It is the original Toyota one. So that is awesome. I'm very happy about that. All right, well, unfortunately, this side of the carburetor, this barrel over here, is full of mouse turds. So I'm probably gonna need to pull the carburetor off, because I don't want to suck all that in there. But hopefully it didn't get into the intake manifold. It shouldn't have, because the butterfly valves are closed in there. So yeah, we're gonna have to pull this carburetor off and at least clean that out. But I don't want to open it up because I don't have a seal kit for this. I'm gonna get one obviously, but I don't have one right now, and I really just want to see if this will run. Definitely not any fuel in the bowl. I like that these have a little glass sight on here too. It's pretty cool. You can see into the bowl. Alright, I figured I'd try to show more of what I'm doing here. I got the top of the carburetor off. I didn't want to do it because I knew the gasket was going to break, and sure enough, the gasket was so brittle it just snapped in half. There's actually a little chunk of it still sitting there. But anyway, I was going to try not to take the whole thing off, but it looks like I'm going to have to, so this video is going to be longer than I wanted, but that's fine. And by longer, I mean it's going to take multiple days to make instead of just getting it all done today, but that's okay. So I guess I could just take the whole carburetor off now. I was trying to just clean it out on here, but I'm going to order a rebuild kit for it anyway, so I might as well just take the whole thing off. So all of the screws in here are amazing. If you look at them, they all look brand new when on the threads. It's really incredible. But anyway, and then this sat up here, and then there's a little rod right here. I'm gonna put that back where it was, and then this was in here, so put that back. Now I'm gonna take a picture of all of this so I can remember how it was. All right, I think I got everything off of here, so let's try and lift it off, I guess. There we go. Alright, since we're going to have to wait on that carburetor, I wanted to just go through the back of this because there's a bunch of parts back there, and I honestly just never looked at it. I did just now, and that's why I got my camera out. I was thinking about doing another live stream of going through the inside of this one, but I really just want to go through it now, so let's just do it. So there's another hatch back here, right here, which maybe I can get a light right here. So all right, we have another hatch. We have another fender, which this looks like it's the front driver's side fender. So we got that. And then we have this box of parts, which I never looked in. So this has a rear heater. There's one right there, which you can't see. There's one right there where it's supposed to go. There's another one in here. And then as I was peeking in here, I saw another gauge cluster, which that's just a gold mine there. Those things are expensive. Oh, and it looks like maybe a factory jack, which would be incredible because those are really hard to find. So let's dig in here. Got that heater and gauge cluster, which is really awesome. It looks like all the gauges are in there as well. Yeah, that's a great find. That is not a factory jack, unfortunately, but it's a bottle jack at least. I don't know if I'd trust it, but we got that. Oh, that's the tool pouch. One of the fog lights that's broke off the front. And that looks like we have an original hubcap in here, which isn't going to come out because it's like the perfect size of the bucket. So, an original hubcap that we won't be able to ever get out. But that's pretty awesome. That's some good finds in there. I am very pleased with that. But I'm going to definitely keep this as spares in case mine up there isn't working. But let's get this out of here and try to, I want to look at this floor. I think the floor is actually in decent shape, but I want to actually be able to see it. Alright, oh, that looks like a wiring harness. We have another blower box here. It kind of looks like a jerry can holder for the exterior or something. Interesting. And then, yeah, we got full wire harness with an ignition, which is nice because the ignition I have a key for this, but the key isn't correct. But this isn't the right ignition. This harness is for an older one. So yeah, I don't know what year this harness is for, but it's not for this year because the ignition's different. Alright, we got some spring mesh thing. I have no idea what that is. And then we got the floor, which honestly, this floor looks really good. The fenders aren't even rusted. Or the wheel wells, sorry. The inner wheel wells aren't rusted through, which is pretty incredible. Well, that looks a whole lot better. Really just needs a good wash now, but other than that, I mean, there is a little bit of rust right here on both sides. But honestly, I'm pretty happy about that. There's a bunch of rust along the back here, but that's very, very common, so I'm not too worried about that. We'll need to repair it, but that is something we can do. And I'm pretty sure they make patch panels for this back little bit too. I'm sure they do, because they make patch panels for all of this, so I don't know. Yeah, the hinges on these seats are pretty tight. It'd be nice to be able to get those to fold up, but it's alright. I think I'm gonna move to the front and vacuum up all that, and then I'll show you how it looks. Alright, this is the interior. I guess I didn't vacuum this seat out, but it's looking alright. There's some junk on the floor over there that I found, nothing too special. This floor, you can kind of see all the holes in it. There. That one round hole is supposed to be there, and then on the tunnel too, I don't know if there's some holes there as well, but I guess there's some back here too. This floor right here isn't the best, but that can be fixed. There are patch panels for that. These seat belts, I'm pretty sure, will need to be replaced. Oh, that one actually pulled out, believe it or not. And now it's stuck, so perfect. Those are the original Toyota seat belts. You can see right here, it says Toyota on it. But I wouldn't trust those with my life, and I'm not going to. But other than that, everything's really clean. The factory radio is missing, but I'll probably just 3D print a plug for that, because who needs a stereo in this? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I am very happy with this purchase. It's pretty amazing. So I'm going to tell you what I paid for this, because I tend to always do that with my stuff. And it really bugs me when I watch YouTubers that don't tell me how much they paid for stuff. I don't know why they do that, but whatever. So I paid $2,500 for this. As it sat. Like, I actually didn't even look at it before I offered the guy the money. And like I said, I offered it in September of 2021. and right now it's mid-February of 2022. So the guy listed it for $4,000 back in September of last year, and I sent him a message and offered him $2,500 for it. I'm just like, if you want it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. But that's what I'm willing to pay for it. And he actually said he got to talk to his buddy because it wasn't actually him selling. It wasn't his to sell. It was his buddy's to sell. So I'm just like, okay, yeah, just let me know. And then he never really got back to me. He said he'd check, and then he just didn't hear from the guy, I guess. And then he just ghosted me, kind of, which is fine. I understand if the guy didn't want to sell it or whatever. But then he lowered the price to like 28 or 3,800 a few months ago, or a couple months ago. I don't know. It was a little while ago. I didn't bother to message him again. I'm just like, it's still a way off. I'm not going to do that. And then a couple days ago, he listed it, or lowered it to $3,300. And I'm like, okay, it's getting lower. Obviously, he's not getting anybody that wants to pay that much. So I just sent him another message again saying, I will buy this for $2,500. If you want it gone, let me know. And a few hours later, he said, okay, I'll take it. So that was amazing. I was really stoked when I heard that. So yeah, we ended up with it. I drove down and got it. My dad went with me to help me, and it was just a nice trip to go. It's about 3 hours away, so a little bit of a drive, but not too bad. Everything went smoothly. And yeah, now we have this, which my plan with this is to eventually fully restore it. But it's going to take a while because I don't have the money just to throw into it right now. So it's going to be a slow process, and the plan with this one is, honestly, it's just going to be parts. I'm not going to get it roadworthy again, and I still don't have a title for it, and the DMV has kind of been ghosting me on that as well. So it's just, and to get a bonded title for this would also cost a lot, and I don't want to do that because I have to get insurance, or I forget the process, but to get a bond, you actually have to pay a lot of money it's like a percentage of the value, but the state determines the value of it. So they could say this is worth $5,000 or $20,000, and I have to pay like 7% or something of that down to get it's just a pain in the butt. So this is going to be parts. Unfortunately, this was kind of my plan to begin with, because when I bought this, if you remember, I said I'm hopefully going to buy another one. This was the one I was talking about. So yeah, that was probably back in September when I bought this one. So it all worked out. So we got the one that I really need. We got one for parts. The engines are the same in these, and I will need this piece because we're missing that, and it's a very important piece. And actually, I'm going to probably take this whole front bib off of here because this one is dented in pretty good here. So that whole thing is going to get replaced with this one, and luckily this one's in good shape. I'm going to need some front fenders. I guess I have the one front fender for this side, but I'm going to need another one for this side, so I'll have to figure that out later. It looks like we have a good marker on that one, so we can pull that over. The hood on this one is in better condition, so we will be using the hood off of this one instead of this one, which they're slightly different, but that one's got a lot of dents, and this one is also the split style hood. So you can see there's a seam that runs right in the middle on the whole hood, and I actually prefer the split style. It's a little niftier, neater to me. So that's going to change. I don't know any other parts. This has the factory wheels, which I would like to use, but I'm not 100% sure if I can, because I don't know if they're safe to use, because I feel like they were split rims and you have to use tubes in them, but I'm not sure, so I don't know if we'll be using that. We might end up using the hard top off of this one because these don't have any rust on them, and the ones on there I believe do have rust, so we might use that. The doors on here I think might be in better shape, believe it or not. Yeah, I think they are. So we might use the doors off of this one. Yeah, it's just going to be kind of picking the pieces off of each one and putting one good one together, which it looks like my lower rear doors on this one are junk as well. And the lower rear doors on that one are rusted out too, so I'm probably gonna have to find some new lower doors. So yeah, that's the plan. I guess I will get back to you once I figure out this carburetor, or get the carburetor kit, so probably tomorrow. So we'll see you then. So as you can see, I got done printing this little piece. So this is the radio block-off plate. You really can't find the factory ones anymore, but I found this model online of the original design for them. And yeah, so this just goes right in there. So we got this little hole here. And so there's like a little screw hole back there. And then that's what that hole goes into. So this just slides in here and sits in there perfect, and then you put a little bolt through that hole in the back, so it looks just like the factory one. Pretty cool. All right, so we got the carburetor here, and I was able to pick up a new gasket set, which this box looks really old, and it's probably been sitting on the shelf forever, but they were able to get this in 2 days at my local parts store, so that's pretty cool. And there we go. It's a brand new rebuild kit for this carburetor. Made in USA, so hopefully it's a decent one. So, let's start cracking into this. We're not going to need this for a little bit, but let's start cracking into this, taking everything apart, and clean it up. Alright, I got all the parts cleaned up as best as I possibly can. They're looking fairly decent. The most important thing is all the passages are cleared. And I got, yeah, everything is cleaned off as possible. Everything's working how it should now. So now we just need to take all of the parts and the new gaskets and new parts, put everything back together. And it's actually the next day since I took this apart, and I usually don't do that, but anyway, I need to remember how to put this together. So I could go get a diagram out of the manual, which I might actually do, because these two parts, well, this goes in the accelerator, but this part, I don't know where it came from. It fell out, so I might need to figure out where that's supposed to go. So we got the internal stuff, which is the more important stuff, and then we got all the external pieces here, and with descriptions of what each thing is. So I should be able to figure out where everything goes now. Alright, we got the carburetor back together here. I noticed a couple of things. For one thing, this bracket was bent right here, and so this was actually hanging down at an angle, and it wouldn't allow this weight to move up any further than that, which actually opens the number 2 barrel on here. So that would have been a problem. And then the other thing that I found out was I was wondering what in the world this bracket hooks to, because I don't have any more parts and it's just floppy here. So I was looking at the diagram here and I saw this long little connector here, and I don't have that. And what it shows is it connects from one of these 2 holes here, and then it goes up to here. So when you have the choke pulled or on, it will give it a little throttle. So that's what it does. So it's supposed to connect these 2 together here, and then when you pull the choke, it moves the throttle down a little bit to give it some throttle. So I could probably make something to go in there, but it'd be nice to try to find that rod that is supposed to go in there. So everything should be working as it should. So let's get it back on the FJ and see if we can get this thing to fire up. I also bought oil and a filter for it, so I'm gonna change that before I try starting it up. Just, it's old oil, it'd be nice. And this filter, old Fram filter, looks like it's been on there for 20 years, which it probably has been. So I wanna get that off of there as well. Hopefully it's not full of water like the other one. There we go. At least that one cracked free quick. Uh-oh. There is water in there. There is water in there. Well, let's hope it's not like the other one. I mean, a little water, I guess, would be fine, but holy cow, I swear, if this is like the other one. This engine turns over at least. Hey, look! It's almost all oil. Oh, that gave me a scare. Holy cow. Alright, a little bit of water. Not a big deal. I'm glad I'm changing this. It does have a smell of gasoline to it, but that looks a lot better than the other one at least. Alright, let's see how difficult it is to get this filter off. Not too terrible. Definitely could have been worse. Doesn't appear to be any oil up here. I guess that kind of makes sense. We might need a valve cover gasket. It appears the oil is just flowing out of the valve cover. I mean, there's just a stream of it coming out. Like, why is it not going down? Well, that's gonna not be fun because there's oil all over the exhaust manifold now. So that'll be fun. It's still streaming out. Okay, well, that's awesome. Alright, oil's changed, got oil in there. I sprayed brake cleaner all over the exhaust manifold to get rid of that oil. It's all dried now, so hopefully that'll be fine. I'm going to try to fill up the bowl on this carburetor through the vents here. I don't know how this is going to go because they're really tiny. Yeah, that's not going to work. Maybe I'll try something else. Alright, the only thing I could come up with is a piece of paper and make it a tiny little hole. So it's going to absorb some of the fuel, but hopefully we'll be able to get most of it in the carb, or in the bowl at least. Alright. The carb is over, or the bowl is over half full, so that worked until it kind of gave way, but whatever. We probably already have some down in there. I don't have a way to pull the throttle or anything from inside the car because this is actually the throttle, but it's stuck, so we're just gonna let it be how it is. It'd be nice if we could choke it a little, but we can't even do that, so that's how it's gonna be. We'll see if it fires off. Hopefully it will. We have to energize that with that. Hopefully something will happen. Well, that was easy. Yeah, it runs good. There wasn't any oil pressure coming up on the gauge in there, but I honestly doubt that works. So that's kind of a little scary. I don't know. It's hard to tell if stuff's getting oil is the big problem. But honestly, it ran great. Yeah, there's fuel run. It was probably about ready to die anyway, but that ran really good. And not hardly any smoke came out either. Oh, this is funny. So smoke didn't come out, but there is a bunch of rust that came out, and I just washed my wife's car, and there's rust all over it now. Yeah. And the exhaust leak you were hearing was that right there. There's a big hole. I don't know if you can see that. There's a big hole in the exhaust right there. But that ran great, honestly. I'm a little worried about the oil pressure. I don't know if it was long enough for it to filter everything through, but yeah, that's pretty good. I did buy a mechanical oil gauge right here. So I actually bought this for the other one to make sure we had oil pressure, but I'm going to throw this one in here real quick and see if we can get oil pressure. All right, so I took the oil pressure sender off and I was trying to put my mechanical one on that I bought, but the threads don't fit, so I couldn't get that done. There was oil at the pressure sender, and I loosened the filter here, and there was oil coming out, so I'm pretty sure the whole system is getting oil pressure. I also went to the electrical, and nothing was getting power in here, but now you see if I turn the lights on, I'm getting some functionality up here. My headlights turn on, so we're making some progress there. Horn still doesn't work. There is power at the oil gauge now, and there wasn't before, so I'm hoping this will actually work. So I put some more gas in the bowl, and we're gonna try to fire it up again and see what happens. And I don't have to jump the coil now either, because I figured out why that wasn't working. So now if you turn the ignition on, you'll hear a click. I think, maybe not. See if it fires. We have oil pressure. Well, maybe not. Oh, yep. It's sitting right where it's supposed to. That's awesome. Let's turn it off now. I can actually use the key to turn it off too. So we have oil pressure. You can see it's slowly going back down now that it's turned off. And yeah, the oil pressure is actually really good. So I hope you enjoy this new FJ that I got. Obviously it's in way better condition. It has a title and I got it registered now, so it's in my name. This engine is way better. It doesn't even smoke when I fired it up, which is insane. It has great oil pressure. This carburetor is a lot better. Yeah, this is just great. There's a lot of work to do. I am actually going to order a bunch of parts for this because I want to be able to drive this on the road this summer. So I know you guys were I got quite a few comments saying that you wanted to see this thing driving. That's not gonna happen. Mostly because the frame is rotted out on this so bad that in order for this to even be lowered to the ground, I need to make something where the frame ends here and the holder for this rear leaf spring is like right here. So there's nowhere for the rear leaf spring to sit. So I can't even lower this down to the ground unless I do something. So I'm not going to do anything with this. What most likely is going to happen is I'm going to strip this of every good part I can possibly get off of it and then scrap the rest. I know that's hard to say, but it's, yeah, I hate the idea of scrapping an FJ, but there's no title for it and it's just way too far gone. Most people probably recognize that this is a good parts vehicle, but I might not strip it. I might just drag it out there and leave it sit. I hope you guys aren't too discouraged that we're not going to be working on this one, but it ran technically, so I mean that's better than nothing, but this one runs a whole lot better. But yeah, I'm going to be ordering a lot of parts and I'm going to be working on this throughout this summer, or probably this spring whenever I get the parts, because I want to get this running and driving by the time warm weather gets here. So yeah, I have pretty much a whole new brake system all the way through. Master cylinder, booster, wheel cylinders, shoes, hardware kit, brake line, or not the hard lines but the soft lines we're replacing. Yeah, a lot of brake stuff. I'm doing the clutch master and slave cylinders. Yeah, I can't think. There was a lot of stuff that I had listed. I'm getting new tires. I want to get some original wheels because those wheels aren't really able to be used because they were supposed to be used with tubes. So I want to get some OEM ones that look like that that can take the hubcap, and that's what I want on this. I don't think I'm going to be doing anything with the body this summer. That might be a next winter project, is repair the body, but I want to just make it so I can drive it and have some fun with it this summer. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked this one. I know I do, and I'm really happy to have one of these back that I can actually take out and drive. I guess I don't know that it drives yet, but it'll probably drive. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.